This question is actually a very lower set question because it plays around with a pentagon, and subsequently there is a pair of parallel lines. So obviously it play around with the property of parallel line. And subsequently you are asked to explain whether is it a parallelogram or not. So if you think about all these shapes, right, all these shapes are very lower set. So you got to be very good with the property of this shape. Okay, so before I go through this question, just a word of reminder first. There is only one pair of parallel line in this question. A lot of you will be thinking that this is also parallel to this because it looks parallel. So a lot of you will be tricked by ED being parallel to AC. But there's no mention of parallel, you cannot assume so. So you may be mentally tricked that ED is parallel to AC, but you need to realize that it is not. The only parallel thing is AE, CD. That's all. So you got to make use of the property of a pentagon. So what property of pentagon can you make of even before you start the question? You should think about total interior angle. So you can put in n equal to 5. Okay. And then for parallel property, of course, there's interior angle, alternate angle, and corresponding angle. Okay, the first part is the easier one. The first part, your job is to find this. So obviously you can see that this is the interior angle. Okay, so what you should do is you explain that it is 180 minus 78. The reason will be the interior angle. And if you're quoting interior angle, please make sure to quote the pair of parallel line. Okay, so you can just simply write that. So that one will be a 102. Okay, then a lot of people will be stuck at BCD if you didn't realize that the total interior angle of a pentagon is 540. So your job is to find this angle here, BCD. So you should see that now there are 5 big angles. So these 5 big angles should add up to the total interior angle. So you should be presenting the total interior angle first. So you present the total interior angle. And then you find BCD, which is the total interior. You subtract away all the other 4 angles that you have found. 78. So if nothing goes wrong, you will get a 96. Okay, so until here, you will still, some of you may be able to get until here. Okay, subsequently, the explanation part is the one that a lot of people get stuck. Okay, when you are at the explanation part, you already have 2 angles that they ask to find. So you need to find out what is the missing thing to make ACDE a parallelogram. So where is ACDE first? ACDE. So a lot of you, right, will be those who are thinking like ED is parallel to AC. Then you'll be thinking like, I don't know how to explain. Okay, so your job is to try to explain if ED is parallel to AC or not. If you can prove that these two are parallel, then it will be a parallelogram already. Okay, so currently, like I mentioned at the start of the question, ED is not parallel to AC. So these two are not parallel yet. it looks parallel, don't get tricked by it. So now your job is to prove that it is parallel. So how are you going to prove that it's parallel? Again, you got to be using the property of interior angle, alternate angle, whichever property, the converse of the property to show that it's parallel. Okay, so the only thing that I have not used so far is the isosceles triangle. I have not used the isosceles triangle. So if I use my isosceles triangle, I can calculate the two base angle. I'm quite sure you know how to calculate the base angle. So you can calculate the base angle. You will get 18 degrees. So I'm going to use the 18 to find out this angle. So this will be 120 minus 18. And then this one will be okay. So I use the 18 degree to find out this already. So 120. Sorry, 102. Okay, look at the 102. Okay, look carefully. I think I should use yellow color. So the 120 and the 78 actually adds up to 180. The 102 and the 78 adds up to 180. So this is the converse of an interior angle. So you will be able to prove that these two are parallel. And with the extra pair of parallel line, the whole thing will become a parallelogram. Okay, so initially the one that you are trying to prove here only got one pair of parallel line. You actually got to try to prove another pair of parallel line. So in order to try to prove the other parallel line, I try to make use of whichever property. In this case, I managed to get the interior angle, and I used the isosceles triangle that I have not used. I found the 102 that can add up to the 78 to make it into an interior angle. Okay, so that the first step will be you need to get the 18, then you need to get the 102, then you need to explain that it actually adds up to this, and then by the converse. So essentially you are using the converse of interior angle. Then ED is parallel to AC. And now that you have two pair of parallel lines, it will make a parallelogram. So you can look at my workout answer. How do I do the explanation step by step? Step 1, where does the 18 degree come from? Step 2, where does the 102 come from? Step 3, when it forms the 180, what property is it? And it leads you to the conclusion of another pair of parallel line. So with two pair of parallel lines, this four-sided figure became a parallelogram. So that is the approach, systematic way of explaining.